to the Pathways to Employment workshop here at the Welcome Expo for the City of Whittlesea. This is the second time I've had the opportunity to come and present information on pathways to employment, and I'll speak as slowly as I can, but as an Australian I speak, like most other Australians, too fast. So anyway, I'll try and speak slowly. I've been working with people who are new to Australia since 2001. I call myself a refugee from Adelaide, because that's where I used to live, was in Adelaide. Not quite as far as many of you have travelled to live in Melbourne, but I set up a website in 2001 and I've been providing lots of information for people who are new to Melbourne. And the biggest question they have is how to get a job. And one of the things that I've talked about for a very long time is making sure that you have a LinkedIn profile. So can I just have a quick show of hands? How many of you already have a LinkedIn profile? Right, so lots of you have to create one. This is extremely important. Good. Because when people are considering you for a job, they will Google you and look for you on the internet. If you have a LinkedIn profile, you will be able to be found on the internet. So 75% of people will search for you on Google before an interview, and 95% of people will Google you before you are offered a job. So if they can't find information about you online, it makes it harder for you to get a job. Also, recruiters who have the LinkedIn Recruiter service will look for candidates on LinkedIn first before they advertise a job. Yes? I'll try. Yes. Okay, that's all right. There's lots more information.
Yes, sorry. Yes, I heard about this talk before, and it's really good.
Okay, good. Sorry.
But yeah, you sort of say, even if you cover less, but they retain it, it's really good. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you for that feedback. If you would like more information, I will be giving these slides to you, and you can also access the recording. They'll be on my website. So I'll give you my phone number to text at the end if you would like the slides, and if you would like access to the recording as well, because I'm recording it audio and on the video on my phone. Okay. The next tip I have for you is, if you have a resume that you are giving when you apply for a job, you have to have the information in a way that an Australian understands it. So some resumes I see that are the first edition are not always the best way to show your skills. You need to talk about your skills before you talk about education and other information. So when people look at information, they like to see the words that are in the advertisement. They need to be in your resume at the same time. I also did a presentation at a career expo this year talking about how to make your resume look like an Australian resume. So there's a link there with instructions on how to do that. The three best ways to find work if you are new to Australia is doing voluntary work, meeting people, and getting referrals. So when you're at the expo today, talking to people and introducing yourself to them, they may know more information and can pass you on to someone else. So do not worry about your level of English. Just say hello and smile. Everybody likes a smile. See, smile. Look around the room. Everyone looks so much nicer. Even if your English is bad, smile. People will like you. The other option is to get a dog and go walking, and people will be nice to you too.
Someone that finished school is a program to have a job in Australia.
Sorry?
Someone that
Didn't finish school? No, my son did not finish school. He finished before the end of year 10, and he has never been out of work for more than 6 weeks, and he's now 21. So yes, doesn't matter if you haven't finished school. But you have to meet the right person who understands what you can do and you help that person. So you need to work out what you can do and find the right person who can use those skills. Yeah. So, and on the Whittlesea website, there's information on where you can get voluntary work if you follow that link.
Excuse me, I'm Michelle from Whittlesea Community Connection, so if anyone interested in volunteering, I can help.
Yes, there you go.
We've got a stall out there.
Excellent. The next one is networking, and there are many places you can go for networking. You can go to local events like this one. You can go to schools, clubs and groups and you'll meet people. When you volunteer there or get involved with the school, you'll meet other people who know other people, and it's a great way to get work. And you can also look at local newspaper and other websites, so you can start going to events. If you are nervous about going to events, take a friend with you, and especially one who can speak good English, so that way they can help you understand what's happening. If you arrive early and leave last, you will meet the most people. The way to get referrals is to meet people and then ask if they know someone who can help you. So you don't just say, give me a job. You say, I'm looking for a job in this area. Can you introduce me to someone who can give me a job in that area? There are also opportunities for mentoring and settlement services that you can access. And again, there's some links there with information on finding a job and also the local services in this area. Improving your English is extremely important. I'm an Australian and I can say this without being racist. If you say it, you will sound racist. Unfortunately, for many Australians who speak English well, if we cannot understand you, we perceive you to be stupid because we cannot understand you, which is crazy because you probably speak 1, 2, 3, 5 languages. We only speak one language. So don't assume that you are stupid. Just work on improving your English because it will be needed all the time when you're in a job. When you're in the job or around with friends, try and speak English all of the time. And if you want to improve your English, there's videos here on the business of English, which will teach you English you can use in the workplace. So it helps you understand basic things, and then there's also another program there. A lot of community groups also offer conversation classes to help you practice your English. You also need to improve your computer skills. Many of you have phones, but you also need to be able to use the computer and have access to the internet. If you don't have it at home, if you can go to the library and make sure your computer skills are good. The library, you can also ask questions. They give good information. So if you're not sure how to find something, you can do that. The GoDigi website also gives you access to courses on improving your computer skills. So definitely worth looking at, as well as the council there has events, community support, and also multicultural services. You also need to look after your health and well-being. I was married for a long time to a man who was unemployed for most of that time, like 18 years unemployed, mostly. So I understand how your health can go down. So you need to meet friends and spend time with other people. It's extremely important to get out of the house. So even if you have no money, you walk to the library and, talk to the librarian. Or when you do your shopping, talk to the person on the checkout. Try and talk and mix with as many people as you can. In Australia, you can ask for help. it's important if you are worried that you do ask for help. And you need to have something to do every day. So even if it's just you go for a walk every day, you must find things to do. There's emergency services available and more information on those two websites. Many people know how to do a job, but they don't know how to find a job. The skills to find a job are different to the skills to do a job. So today is teaching you how to find a job, which is different. If you are giving your resume and you're not getting an interview, it means your resume is not working for you and it needs to change. If you get an interview and you don't get the job, it means they can't see you as a fit for that organisation. Now, if you got the interview and then they tell you you don't have enough experience, that is just an excuse. Because why would they interview you? Because it already said that in your resume, okay? So forget the reason they tell you why you didn't get the job. Just look for the next job. So as I said, my son, who didn't finish school, I do not know anybody else who has achieved this. He got 10 interviews in 1 week. Right? Now, lots of those jobs, not good jobs. Very bad jobs. But he still got 10 interviews in 1 week and did not finish school. So you can do this too if you approach it the right way. Do not listen to what your friends might tell you. You'll never get a job. It never works. It's too hard. Don't listen to that. Okay? You need to keep trying and don't rely on those stories for advice. There are people who can give you expert advice, and there's a lot of information online. The My Future website tells you what's needed for each job so you can understand what each job needs. Or the CDAA has people who can work with you one-on-one. You also need to look for work all the time, but only 2 hours per day, 5 days per week. The rest of the time you can look after your health, spend time with your family, but you don't just look for jobs online. Up to 90% of jobs are never advertised. So you need to remember, don't just look and see, oh, there's no jobs, I'll never get a job. You need to go looking for the jobs. Networking, referrals, voluntary work. And do all of those things all at the same time. And have a friend to encourage you, and it is still better to do something voluntary than nothing, because you will get experience and you will meet new people and you'll be out of the house getting dressed every day. So these links here for more job search strategies if you're under 30, between 30 and 50, or over 50, have more information on those links. And the last one is you need to keep going. As I said before, you're not getting interviews, your application isn't working, you're not getting the job, you're not the right fit, and it's important not to be stuck, just be clear on what you would like to try and achieve. So if you don't think you will be able to go immediately into your previous profession, you still need to pay the bills. So you might say, I'll work in a pizza shop, but I'll still keep looking for the job of my dreams. Most Australians still appreciate that you had to pay the bills and you have experience. So it's still better to work in the pizza shop than not work and then try and get a job. And also start somewhere and move on. So even if the job is less than what you've done before, it's still better to start lower and move up than it is to just abandon the whole idea. So if you would like these slides, you can send me an SMS with your name and your email address, and I will send you this information. And now, before the next presentation, I'm happy to answer questions. So, anybody have a question? Don't be shy. Happy to answer. Did you have a question? No? Did you have a question?
Sure.
Yes?
I don't
Excellent.
have any questions.
Well done.
So yeah, no questions, sorry. But there's a lot of really good information here in the network session today. So if you go around, look, you'll see a lot of information related to what we're talking about. And also I work for the Reconnect program, just trying to get people back into training and education, and we help through development as well.
Good.
So
So what would be your best tips?
yeah, exactly what you said. And also, obviously, education and training has a part to play in that, in what you do. So, yeah, have a talk to us or some other people around and you'll get some more information about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Quite often, employers will go to teachers to find staff, and they will ask the teachers who are the best students. And so, if you're studying, you can get access to jobs too. Did you have a question? No, just stretching.
On the resume, is it good to put a finished high school in another country? Or like a university in another country?
Okay. Well, it depends on what sort of job you're going for. So, can you give me an example? Entry-level job, and how old are they?
Shells, 18, 20?
Yes, of course. Yes, absolutely. But did they do any other work whilst they were studying?
Some of them.
Yes.
Some
So
of them
it's
have retail experience in their country.
perfect. So all of that should be put on. Also, when I was involved in the graduate program at Westpac, a large bank in Australia, we didn't just look at grades, A, B, C, D, in assessments. We looked at all the other things that the candidate was involved in whilst they were studying. So any sport, any community activity, any awards that they won at school, all of this information, if you're starting out, add that to your resume. But if you're applying for somewhere like Coles, they usually have an online application that you have to fill in. So you might want some help to fill in that application accurately so that you have the best chance of getting in the door. Because my son tried to go to Coles, and I knew someone at Coles, but he still couldn't get a job in Coles that way. He had to do the online. So if you need help, ask for some help. There are plenty of people with grey hair who like to help young people. Plenty of them. So please, if your next door neighbour has grey hair, talk to them. I was watching television this morning, and there's a program that's just received funding called Ask Gran, Not Google. Okay?
Yeah,
It is. It's a good thing. And older people are happy because they want to help. So, and they want company. So, get a dog, go walking, look for old people. Very successful.
in my culture we say that those girls before I see how I old age, like they are experienced for job.
Of course.
They are more, they know the world more than us because they
Of course,
and
they've done it. And they usually have sons and daughters who employ people. So then they could, if they like you, they can pass your details on to someone they know.
and they have more experience than us in the life.
They do, yeah. My first friend in Melbourne was a woman in her 60s. I couldn't make any friends who were also 28.
If I have a friend where
It's really good, yeah. Any other questions?
So if we want your site,
Yes.
website, links and
Yes.
stuff, we text you on that number?
Yes, that's
and we
right.
write Welcome Expo,
First name,
and
email address.
And then you'll send it to us.
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
Very kind.
Yes. There is much more information on my website, sueelson.com, as well as on newcomersnetwork.com. And on the second Wednesday of every month, I run a free event in the city called Living, Working and Networking in Melbourne. from 6 o'clock till 8 o'clock. So if you want to come, you can come and meet other people who are new to Melbourne, and we share stories, and I talk about dogs and old ladies there too. You meet other people also new to Melbourne, but not new to Whittlesea. Yes? Good.
Is it important to put like referees in the resume or just
You don't need it. You can just say referees available on request. Yeah, you don't have to put it on there. If you have a LinkedIn profile and the person is connected to you, they can write a recommendation for you, and then people don't often check for referees because they see the recommendation on LinkedIn. So that can be good too, particularly if it's coming from another country. So yeah, right.
If you're a student and you have a LinkedIn profile.
Yes,
Really?
yes.
yeah?
LinkedIn is my #1 favourite platform. I joined in 2003. I'm one of the first 80,000 people in the world on LinkedIn. And if you see the Newcomers Network table out there, you'll see my book, 120 Ways to Achieve Your Purpose with LinkedIn, as you can see on the slide. Anybody who writes a review, I give a digital copy free of charge. I also am happy to put these books in the training library of any organisation that has a library. I'm happy to share digital copies of all 3 of my books. Or any schools that want the book, I'm happy to put it in their libraries. I'm trying to get the books, the digital books, in every library in Australia. Believe it or not, it's much harder than you think. But yeah. So I do want people to access this information. The first book is about LinkedIn. The second one is lots of stories about how to get work. And the third one is lots of case studies if you decide to go into business. A lot of new arrivals to Australia do end up in their own little business of some sort. So yeah, happy to get those books. You can find them online as well. If you would like to ask me a question not in front of the group, just look for me and I'm happy to answer it. I'll be around for a little while. But thank you for coming, and I wish you every success in your journey here in Australia, for however long that is. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Thank you for your help.